gamers, so crazy.
Son of a... What's up, gamers? Lemmy Smash here with another episode of Play My Steam Library, but not just any episode, it's the 5th one, unless you count the pilot. For today's episode, I reached out to the Corrupt Games community and asked you what games I should play. The 5th community pick is the result of a 3-way tie between Origami, Micro Machines, and Torchlight. I broke the tie this way, as Torchlight is the option I most wanted to play. Torchlight evokes the style of Diablo and Sacred, with its top-down perspective and a focus on building your own character's abilities and exploring a large dungeon for loot. Unfortunately, this didn't draw me in like I had expected. Of the 3 character classes, I chose the Alchemist, but using magic was hampered by my limited mana pool. Alright, this dude looks pretty cool. My pet. A dog. That's not a dog, that is a wolf. Cat. That's not a cat, that is a lynx. Or no, it's a bobcat. I like the ability I gained later to summon a demon of sorts, as it reminded me of playing Divinity 2, but I died soon afterwards. I'm just chucking my way through these guys. Come on, let's go. I don't even know if you're enemies, you're moving, so I gotta kill you. I'll give Torchlight a C, as it's not a bad game at all, just not what I was expecting. I've never been into these types of games, and it didn't do much to sway my favor. The 4th community pick is Superflight. The delightful freefall simulator comes to us from Grizzly Games and is one of my personal favorite games, so naturally I'm happy the community voted for it. Superflight is a simple game, but one that will have you entertained for hours with its one more run style of gameplay. Your objective is to navigate your way through randomly generated stages and earn a high score. You gain points by flying close to the terrain, and the more daring you get, the more points you receive. You can also combo multiple surfaces for huge scores. Continue your run by flying into portals scattered throughout the levels, or by just diving into the void. Crashing into the ground will end your run and generate the score. There's few games that can provide the pure thrill of nailing a tight gap or diving headfirst into a trench just inches from the surrounding walls. Superflight's risk-reward gameplay style means you can fly forever if you play it safe, but pulling off those holy shit level stunts provides such a rush that soon you'll be trying for some downright stupid gaps. The fact that levels can be saved and generated from seeds adds a score rush aspect to the game, as you become enthralled in finding the perfect line through every nook and cranny of the levels. Crashing into the ground rarely results in more than a few seconds of downtime before I'm flying high again, searching for my next big scoring line. Superflight earns a surefire S grade. It's the combo-seeking gameplay from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater refined into its purest form, and I'm fairly certain it will never not be fun flying down the side of a mountain. The 3rd community pick is Overgrowth. I received this game fairly recently from the Humble Monthly Bundle, and while I had seen some memes based on the early gameplay, I was curious to test out the finished product. And this is what I got: an error about a missing file in the game's directory. I verified the Steam cache, but stopped short of re-downloading the entire game. At nearly 20 gigabytes, it's just not worth it. I'm not mad, Wolfire Games. I'm just disappointed. There's an MP3 file called Poopy Doopy.
Poopy Doopy. Poopy Doopy.
The second community pick is Transformers War for Cybertron. As a big Transformers fan, The OG cartoons and comics, not the Michael Bay movies. I was lucky enough to purchase War for Cybertron a long time ago. There are currently no Transformers games listed on Steam, even the fairly recent Transformers Devastation by Platinum Games, and no indication as to when they'll come back. War for Cybertron takes place on the titular homeworld of the Transformers, a race of robots that are more than meets the eye, as they can transform, get it, between your typical humanoid robot form and a specialized vehicle. Part of the fun of the Transformers was seeing classic vehicles like the Volkswagen Beetle or Porsche 911 turn into giant robots, but the Cybertron setting means everybody changes into generic space vehicles. Yay. You can choose to play the story from two sides, but oddly, the story is a shared linear experience between the two. If you want to play as the heroic Autobots, you must first start from the halfway point. Playing as the Decepticons is the only way to get the full story, which feels cheap. Each side features a leader and 2 soldiers, which is a paltry selection compared to the number of bots in the canon. Starscream and Jetfire make appearances in their respective side story, so they may become playable too, but unfortunately I will never find out. Transformers is not fun. In fact, it's pretty boring. The level designs of Cybertron are bland and confusing, and the game's graphics are atrociously underdeveloped. I realize this is an 8-year-old game, but so are Mass Effect 2, Red Dead Redemption, and Halo Reach. There's no excuse for this game to have such blurry, jagged-looking models.
It's here.
I am certain, Baron.
Oh my god, the aliasing. Oh my god.
It's also capped at 30 frames per second, and despite running on a more than capable PC, struggled to keep that number consistent. Gameplay is hardly worth mentioning. You shoot robots. Which ones? Well, if you're purple, you shoot the red ones. If you're red, you shoot the purple ones. You can transform, but again, becoming a supercar or a giant big rig is awesome. Becoming whatever the hell this is just lame. War for Cybertron gets a D from me. But seriously guys, if this and the Michael Bay films are your only exposure to Transformers, I highly urge you to check out the original G1 cartoons, Beast Wars, and the comics. Windblade's in the comics, and she's a badass. And here it is, your number 1 community pick, Red Faction Guerrilla. Developed by the team behind the Saints Row games, Red Faction takes the open world genre to Mars. Step into the shoes of Alec Mason. No, not him, the guy played by Troy Baker.
Shiv, Ambassador Bridge. You shot him in the back.
No, the guy with the brother, remember?
That's alright. I believe it.
The Resistance guy who looks like a complete tool.
Since when have heroes ever needed plans?
Perfect.
Lightning!
Mars has been terraformed by the Earth Defense Force, or EDF, and Alec goes to work as a miner, but soon finds himself wrapped up in a terrorist organization called Red Faction. They want to dismantle the EDF's authoritarian stranglehold on Mars and plan to liberate it one sector at a time. I love games with this clear structure. It really reminded me of the Crackdown series and taking back the city district by district. Only this time, you're not a super soldier, you're just a guy with a sledgehammer. But a hammer is all you need thanks to the Geomod engine that this game uses. Structures can be battered, beaten, and blown apart piece by piece, and the game encourages you to do as much damage as possible. There are even multiplayer modes based entirely on this concept, and it's something that modern games have sorely missed. Nothing feels better than to crush a single steel beam and cause an entire bridge to fall into your head. Oh, okay, maybe that's not such a good idea. Games like Just Cause and ironically the upcoming Crackdown 3 have similar systems, but having an entire world built to destroy is something special. I give Red Faction an A for its super satisfying destruction mechanic, as well as taking a chance on an open world that isn't a major US city. The rest of the game is average at best, but these elements can carry you on for hours.
Get ready for this.